Yes. Yeah. Good evening, all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, right?
It's clear, sir.
Fine. So in the last we had a session, right? So in that I was discussing like Python Software Foundation. It's a non-profit organization devoted towards Python community. Was launched in the year 2001. The objective is to foster the development of Python. And the year 2005, PSF Python Software Foundation received Computer World Horizon Award. The president for this PSF Python Software Foundation, right? Guido van Rossum, the personality who introduced Python, the same personality. He is the president for this that is president for this PSF. Headquarters, Delaware, US. Official website, python.org, right? Yes. So Python versions, Python 1.x, the first version was released in the year 1989. The second version was released in the year 2000. Python 3.x in the year 2008. Latest version of Python. Python 3.12, right? And stable version of Python means mostly used version, Python 3.11, right? And Python installation, right? Yes. So already I discussed, right? Just to go to this python.org website. So the official website of Python, www.python.org. This is the official website, right? From where we can download Python. Here we can say downloads, all releases within that. Select this 3.12 point, looking for a specific release. Go for looking for a specific release, the 3.12.3. Yes. Just to click it. Yes. You will get the Python 3.12.3 gets opened and you will get this. Windows installer 64-bit. If you have got older version of Windows and if you have got 32-bit, go with this. And for Mac OS, 64-bit universal installer. Just say Windows installer 64-bit. Download it and just install, right? Am I audible to all, right? Is my voice clear and audible to all? Once again, can anyone please confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. So just normal. Once it get down, it hardly takes 1 minute to install. Once it gets downloaded, just only set the path where you want to install Python in which drive. Just give the drive, the folder name. Next, hardly takes 1 minute, right? Yes. So, and in the last session, I was discussing about Python execution modes, right? There are two modes of execution, interactive mode and batch mode. Interactive mode, here we directly type Python statements on the interpreter and the user can easily interact with Python statement by statement. For every statement, you get that response, right? For testing the functionalities of Python and for learning Python, this interactive mode works better. Just in the command prompt, type CMD, or you can just go to the command prompt and just type Python and say enter. And this Python version is displayed and this three arrow symbol, that is Python interpreter gets open, right? Yes. Any valid Python statements you can type, right? X as 10, X plus 4, X minus 4, X into 4, X by 4, right? X into 2, X to the power of 2, right? In this way, you can interact with Python. No, yes, this kind of interaction you can see only in Python. In other programming language, we won't see this feature. And also for developing applications, this interactive mode is not preferred. Interactive mode is not preferred. What? Developing interactive mode is not preferred. Go for batch mode. Go for what? Batch mode. Here we write a set of statements. We write a set of statements, right? Batch of statements within the editors or ID. Within the editors or IDs, and save it by using dot. In other programming, we say like .java or .c. Here also, just we save it by using .py extension and later submitting to Python. What are the various editors where we can write this Python code? In Notepad and Edit Plus, right? Within the Windows environment, you can write the Python code and create a .py file. In Linux, we have got VIN Nano editors, right? We have got VIN Nano for creating a .py files. And what are the various IDs? What are the various IDs where I can write the Python code? So in real time, we use these IDs. What are the various IDs, right? Yes, mostly used IDs. Integrated development environments. Integrated development environment, right? So Python is providing multiple IDs like PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter, VS Code. As Python is used for different environments using different IDEs. So among all this, the mostly used one is PyCharm. So I'm going to discuss multiple IDEs, right? How to write the download, how to install, and how to write the code and execute the code on different IDEs. So like PyCharm, Spider, Jupyter, VS Code, all this I'm going to show you, right? Yes. Developing the first Python application within editor. Just open Notepad and write the following Python statements. X is 10, Y is 20. Yes, 10, 20, right? So just I have taken two values. X plus Y, X minus Y. Just I want to perform some kind of arithmetic operations. X plus Y, X minus Y, X into Y, X by Y. I want to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division I want, right? Yes. So just to copy this to a separate notepad file and create a sample1.py. And now submit this file to Python. Where did I save this sample1.py? Within the C drive, I created Python 10 p.m. batch. A folder within that sample1.py is created. So what I can do now, how to submit it, how to submit and execute this. So just go to the command prompt. Just type Python and give the path within the C drive, right? Yes, Python 10 p.m. batch. Sample1.py. Yes, it gives the output, right? 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. But here we are writing the code within the notepad and we are executing here in the command prompt. So writing in one place, executing in other place, but writing and executing in the same place, right? We are writing the code at one place in the notepad and executing at the other place. But to write and execute at the same place, we have IDLE, Integrated Development Learning Environment. So which comes along with Python installation, using which we can write and execute at the same place, right? Yes. just take this code and just write it within this IDLE. Just say in the search, you say IDLE, right? Python 3.12 IDLE. Python shell gets opened in this way, right? Here, file, new file, you say, just write your code here, save your code and run your code. Save the code using Control S. So I created a separate folder for this patch, Python 10 PM, right? Just save with some name, sample3.py. I'm saving it. And here run option is there. Run module, run writing here itself, executing itself. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20, right? So that is what execution modes. Later I discuss about this IDEs of Python, how to download, how to install after discussing some technical content, right? Now entering into the technicals, Python technicals, right? Yes. Yeah. Data types and variables. Python data types and variables, right? Yes. Every organization, if you talk every organization, right? Use case has got data and operations, has got data and operations. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented, right? Data represented using data types. Data represented using data types and variables. Operations represented, right? Yes. Using functions. Data represented using data types and variables. Operations represented using functions. Fine. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data by using data types and variables. Operations by using function. For example, take the organization like a bank. Bank has got data and operations like customer data, customer operations, customer data like customer name, customer account number, customer address, balance, branch. And customer operations like deposit operation, withdraw operation, transfer operation, right? Okay, operations using functions later we discuss, but now data types and variables, right? If you observe this data types and variables compared with other programming, Python supports dynamic data types. Just observe this comparison. Hmm. One second. C or C++ or Java compared with Python, right? Compared with Python. I said Python supports dynamic data types. Here, if you observe, right? X equal to 10. X equal to 10, right? Yes. Compulsory data type defining is in other programming language. If you want to create a variable X, compulsory this data type defining, right? Y equal to 4.5. Compulsory, I need to say float Y. Z equal to hello, right? Compulsory, I should say string Z. But in Python, no need to define these data types. Directly, I can say x as 10. Directly, I can say y as 4.5. Directly, I can say z as hello, right? Yes. Directly, I can say them as, right? No need to define the data types here in Python, right? Just observe these things. 1 second. What kind of variable x is, what kind of variable x means based on this data type defining, you are saying it as what kind of variable x is means based on the data type defining, it is a integer type. What kind of variable y is means based on the data type defining, it you are saying it as float type. What kind of variable this z based on this data type defining, you are saying it as string type. Okay. But in Python, what kind of variable x is means what value you assign to it. What value you have assigned to it. If you are assigning an integer variable, if you are assigning an integer value, then integer variable is created. Integer variable is created, right? So there is a function given by Python to know the type of a variable. Type of x is what type? Int type. So why it is integer type? Why it is integer type? Because yes, you assign an integer value to it. So integer variable is created dynamically during runtime. If you're assigning a float value, then a float variable y is created. Type of y is what type? Yes, type of y is what type? Float type. Why it is float? Because you assigned a float value. So float variable is going to get created. Float variable, right? Type of z. Type of z is what type? Str, string type. So based upon what value you are assigning to a variable, based on that, the variable is going to get created dynamically. The variable is going to get created dynamically, right? Yes. Okay, fine. So dynamic. So to discuss more on these data types and make you understand much better, I'm going to discuss 4 cases here. 4 cases. What happens internally when you define some variables? How to print its value, how to print its address, and how to print its type. Case 1. Whenever I say x equal to 10, whenever I define x equal to 10, internally one object gets created. Internally one object gets created with value 10. It is going to have some physical memory location address. So whenever you say x equal to 10 means an object with value 10 creates and it's going to occupy some memory address. This address is stored by x. Okay. So just understand here, whenever what x is storing, don't say x is storing 10. X stores this address. Whenever I say print x, you need to understand these 3 things. Whenever I say print x, then it goes to this address and prints whatever content present at that address. So whenever I say print x, prints the content, prints the content at that address, whatever content is there, that content 10 is that. And if I want to print this address, where exactly it is stored, there is id function. Id is a function, right? Id of x prints the address of x. Prints the address of x. What is the address? 103070, right? And if I want to print the type of a variable, what a data type of X, already you know this type of X, prints the data type of X, prints the data type of X. What data type it is? Integer type, right? Print X, printing the content. ID of S, the address, right? Where exactly it is stored. Printing the address. Type of X prints the data type, right? Yes. Printing the content, printing the address, and printing the type, right? Yes. Now observe this case 2. Now everyone try to respond, right? You can unmute yourself and try to give a response, or you can also type your response in the chat. Just unmute yourself. Whenever I say X equal to 10, whenever I say Y equal to 20, how many objects are created internally? Yes. For 10, one object 10. For 20, one more object 20. This is going to have its own address. This 20 will have its address. This address is taken by X. X stores this address. This address is stored by Y. Now try to respond. What is print X? Print X. 10, right? It goes to this address and print whatever present at that address. Now, if I want to print the address where exactly it is stored, right? What is 103070? Yes. Type. What is the type of X? What data type it is? As you are assigning a integer value to X, the type of X is going to be into type. Yes. Try to say fast. Print Y. What is the Y value? Yes.
20.
20. It goes to this address, prints whatever present at that. If I want to print the address ID of Y,
104080.
104080. Yes. Type of Y, what data type it is? Integer type, right?
Integer.
Try to understand here. Two different variables X and Y with the two different values 10, 20. Then two different objects are created. Two different objects are created with the two different addresses. Two different variables with the two different values, then two different objects with the two different addresses. Yes. Now observe this case 3. X value is 10, Y also 10. Everyone try to answer how many objects are going to get created here.
2.
1.
Everyone try to respond.
One object.
One object will be created.
Observe carefully here. One object only will be created. Object with value 10. It is going to have some address. That address is taken by X. Before creating object for Y, it checks any object with value 10. Any object with value 10 if it is already available, right? Ajit Sinha, be in mute. Okay. If you got any background noise, you can just provide your response through chart panel, right? Yes. So you can just enter that response there, right? X equal to 10, Y equal to 10, right? Before creating object for 10, it checks any object with value 10. If already available, then same address you give to Y. So X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10. Don't think the three objects are going to get created. No. 10, 10, 10. Three objects won't be created. Only one object. The same address is given to X, Y, and Z. X value is 10, Y value is 10, Z value is 10, right? Three objects are not created. Only one object, right? Its address is given to X, Y, and Z. For example, understand. X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30. X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30. Three different values.
Yeah.
Three objects will be created in such case. So here X, Y, and Z, they are sharing the same content to 10. They are sharing the same address. Yes. So if I say print X, print Y, print Z, they are going to print the same value, right? Yes. That is 10. Address of X, address of Y, address of Z. Type of X, type of Y, type of Z will be integer type only. This is case 3. Case 4. Previously, X and Y I have taken. Now I am taking X equal to 10, X equal to 20, not X and Y. How many objects are created here? For 10, one object with some address. That address given to X. X equal to 20, one more object, right? With value 20 with some address. The address is given to X. Okay. Now, whenever I say print X, what is the X value it is going to print? Yes. What is the X value it is going to print? Everyone, try to respond.
20.
It always prints the latest value, right? It always prints the latest value, that is 20. Print address of X. Address of X is
104050.
Yes, type of X is what? Integer, because you have assigned a integer value, right? So observe here, up to here it's fine. But if I say print X second time, again prints 20. If I say print X for any number of times, it's always printing that value 20. It is always printing the value 20. Print X always prints. Is there any possibility of printing the previous value 10? Is there any possibility of printing the previous value 10?
No.
So what happens to the previous value 10? Is it available, not available, or it gets removed, right? So to understand that, a small thing you need to understand. What happens to the previous object, this one? So just I'll give overview as of now. There is a concept like garbage collector. Garbage collector, right? Yes. So I'll go back to this case 3. Garbage collector. Just overview as of now. Later I discuss in brief when we discuss this concept garbage collector to understand what happens to the previous object, right? Garbage collector removes unused, removes unused or unreferred objects. It removes unused or unreferred objects from the memory. Removing unused or unreferred objects from the memory. What do you mean by unused or unreferred objects? Yes. Unused or unreferred objects means objects whose reference count becomes 0. Whose reference count becomes 0. Whose reference count becomes 0. Those we call it as unused or unreferred objects. Then these objects are immediately removed. Objects whose reference count becomes 0, then these objects are immediately removed from the memory by the garbage collector. Automatically, right? Understand this? What is unused or unreferred objects? Objects whose reference count becomes 0. Then these objects are immediately removed from the memory by the garbage collector automatically. Okay, what is reference count? What is reference count and how it becomes 0? Reference count. Reference count means number of variables. Number of variables. Observe, yes. Number of variables pointing to an object. I'll just show you with multiple examples. This what is reference count. Number of variables pointing to an object will give the reference count. Number of variables storing address of an object. Number of variables pointing to an object or number of variables storing address of an object. Just understand, right? Here x is 10, y is 10, z is 10. How many variables are pointing to this object to 10, right? How many variables are pointing to this object to 10? X is pointing, y is pointing, z is pointing. So what is the reference count?
3.
3. 3 variables are pointing, so reference count. X is storing this address, y is storing this address, z is also storing this address. So reference count is 3. Slowly I modified the y value to 20. Now check how this reference count becomes 0. Slowly I modified the y value to 20 means a new object to 20 is created. A new object to 20 is created. 1040. That address is taken by y. Now y is made to point to the new object. Y is made to point to the new object. Now y is not pointing to this. Y is not pointing to this. What is the reference count of this? Yes. Everyone try to respond. What is the reference count of this object? 10.
2.
X is pointing, Z is pointing. Only two variables, right? Now Y is pointing to the other object. Right? Okay. Slowly, I am modifying the Z value also to 30. Yes, a new object 30 gets created and with its address, right? That address is taken by Z. Now Z is pointing to the new object. Z is not pointing to this. Reference count is 1. Previously, 3 variables were pointing, but now only one variable X only pointing. The other 2 variables, right, they are pointing to different objects. Now slowly I am modifying the Z value, sorry, X value also to 50. The address is given to X. Now X is made to point to the new object. X is not pointing to this. X is not pointing to this. So reference count is what? Yes. Hello. Reference count is 0, right? 0, right? Yes. So reference count becomes 0. See here, if objects whose reference count becomes 0, then these objects are immediately removed from the memory by the garbage collector automatically. So as this object reference count became 0, immediately this object is going to get removed from the memory. So this object reference count is 0. No variable is pointing to it. No variable is referring to it. Unused or unreferred object. This object then is not used by anyone or unreferred. That's why it is got removed from the memory. And that too, it reference count became 0, right? Immediately that object gets removed, right? Understood what is garbage collector? What it removes, unused or unreferred. What do you mean by unused or unreferred? And what is reference point. Later I discuss these things in brief, right? So just to understand what happened to this. If I go back to this case 4, understand this case 4, right? Yes. Now try to answer. X is 10, X is 20. Forget about X equal to 20 for a while. Talk about this X equal to 10. What is the reference count of this object 10?
1.
1.
1.
Only X pointing, right? Yes, only X is pointing. Slowly, I modified the X value to 20. Now, X is made to point to the new object. X is made to point to the new object. Now, what is the reference count of this? Now, X is pointing to the, X is not pointing to this now. Reference count is
0.
0. Whenever any object reference count becomes 0, then that object is going to get removed from the memory. So always, that's why print X, it prints 20 only, right? So understand this, right? 4 cases you understood, right? Case 1, printing the content, printing the address, and printing the type. Observe this case 2, right? 2 different variables with 2 different values, 10, 20, with 2 different objects with 2 different addresses. Case 3. X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10, only one object 10. The same address is given to X, Y, Z. Case 4, right? Yes. X is 10, X is 20. X is 10, X is 20. Always it prints the latest value. The previous one gets removed, right? Yes. Data types. Data types are mainly are of 2 types. Data types are mainly are of 2 types. Just I'll take 5 minutes. Fundamental data types, yes. collection data types. And one more, you can see in the chart, right? If you missed the previous session, you can check it, right? The video is forwarded in the chart. The link of the previous, right? YouTube video link is given, right? And the course content link for full stack and this normal Python and the payment, everything you can copy that, right? Fine. Fundamental data types. Object to holding single value. Simply, in the simple way, right? Fundamental data types means object to holding single value. Object to holding single value. For example, X value was 10. An object with value 10 with some address. The address given to X. Object holding single value. Here, object holding single value. Collection data type means object holding group of values. Object holding group of values, set of values, collection of values, right? Is there any specific range of address? There is no range, right? So where exactly it is stored in the memory, that memory location address. Object holding group of values. Example, right? X equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. In other programming, we say array of values. Here we say list of values. So here also one object gets created. An object gets created, right? In the object 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You are going to have some address. The address is given to X. X equal to 10 to 50. Yeah, this address. Okay. So this object holding multiple values. Object holding multiple values. Object holding single value, fundamental type. Object holding group of values, collection type. Observe here, right? Fundamental data types. Mainly are of 5 types. Integer, float, Boolean, string, and complex. Integer, float, Boolean, string, and complex. Integer, right? Something in like age 25. Like height 6.4. Boolean which returns either true or false, which returns either true or false. String, sequence collection of characters, right? Like city equal to Hyderabad. complex x plus iy, this real and imaginary. Age equal to 25, height 6.4, right? Boolean means true or false. Boolean value is 0 or 1. 0 indicates false, 2 indicates 1. String sequence collection of characters. X plus a real and imaginary. But in Python, this instead of I, we will be using J. This is real and imaginary. Complex like collection data types. Collection data types, right? Yes. There mainly are of 4 types. 4 types of collection, right? List, tuple, set, dictionary. Simple representation for this collection types, right? Simple representation. List represented using squared bracket. Tuple by using normal braces. Set by using curly braces. And dictionary by using key value representation, right? Key and value representation. So list, example of this list of values, x equal to squared bracket and list of values, square bracket. Tuple of values, by seeing the braces only you should identify what kind of collection it is, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yes. Set of values z equal to yes, curly bracket 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? A set of values. And dictionary of key and value, for example, W is a dictionary. Key, right? Name, Ajay. Age, 25, right? So representation of key value pairs. So name is the key, Ajay is the value. Age is the key, and this is the value. We have got lot of discussion on this collection type like list properties, list indexing, list slicing, list functions, list methods, list addresses, nested list modifications, right? Similarly for tuple. Heap memory, right? So Pradeep, what type of memory, right? Heap memory. Right. Tuple like tuple indexing, tuple slicing, tuple functions, tuple addresses, right? Yes. Similarly for set dictionaries, lot of discussions. In the case of fundamental type, we have got lot of discussion on string, string indexing, string slicing, string methods, string functions, and string special characters, right? Yes. So today, just I was briefing you about these data types and variables, the 4 cases, what exactly happens when we define some variables, printing their content, printing their types, printing their addresses, right? Yes. We have got fundamental and collection types. So tomorrow my discussion will be more on this. Handling strings in Python, right? Yes. Handling strings in Python. Tomorrow also, everyone of you can attend the session, same time at 10 o'clock using the same link. But from day after tomorrow, the link will be changing, right? So you are supposed to get enrolled for getting that new link. And from day after tomorrow, you will be getting the videos to your Google Drive, notes to your mail IDs, a WhatsApp group will be created, and every topic wise, whenever the topic completes, the assignment task will be forwarded, right? Yes. Any queries you have got, you can just before that once again, right? Just to go to the course content, which is given in that chart. Yes. So like Python core and Python advanced, everything will be discussing in brief. And I'll be discussing many modules related to different environments, right? As said, Right. And for Python Core and Advanced, we'll be spending nearly 70 hours, 2 months duration. And for entire Python Core, Python Advanced, total Python package, full stack web development, right? Which includes Python Core, Advanced, Django framework, Flask framework, and this UI technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and REST API, right? And a project. So that fee structure is, if you are done with a single payment, so it is 10, otherwise it's 12, right? Fine. And just to go through this, right? Yes, I was saying in the last class, so for Python Core and Advanced, 70 hours, 2 months, it's 5,000. It's an offer batch for Python Core. And for full stack, Django framework, Flask framework, you along with this Python Core and Advanced, Django, Flask, UI, REST APIs, and MySQL database, and a project. For the frameworks also, it takes 70 hours, 2 months duration, 7,000. 5 plus 7, it's 12. But if you are taking the entire package with a single payment, 10K. So the timings of the batch, I said, right, for first 1 week or 10 days, it will be at 10 p.m. Later, it starts from 9 to 10, right? So what are that? You'll be getting the live recorded videos of each session, even if you miss a session, right? By that immediately, right, you'll be getting the recorded video. So today, if a session completed at tomorrow early morning, like by 9 or 10, you will be getting the video. You can go to the video, right, before the next class for the better understanding, right? Soft copy of the class notes, assignments, tasks, resume preparation, interview questions, WhatsApp link, WhatsApp group is going to be created, right? For any errors, you can take the snap and paste that in the WhatsApp, right? All the sessions will be interactive. I want the sessions to be more interactive, right? From tomorrow, I want the sessions to be more interactive. So whether your answers are correct or wrong, everyone try to keep responding through voice, or you can also type your response that short. So 300 plus code examples in Python Core and Advanced, and 15 to 20 applications in the frameworks, right? Applications. So I also handle that big data, right? So there's a package for that big data like Hadoop, PySpark, and Linux in the weekends. Saturday and Sunday evenings, it will be there, right? This Saturday and Sunday evening, there is a demo, right? There is a new batch going to start on this Hadoop and PySpark. And which includes this Python 2 months course in it, right? In this package, Python Core and Advanced, right? Hadoop, PySpark, and this will be discussed. And if you want both the pack, this cost of this is 15,000. So 12 weekends it goes for this Hadoop, PySpark, and Linux. And this course, you can attend any of my regular batch for this Python, right? So yes, for both big data package and Python package, if you want, it's 20,000, which covers both Hadoop and this total big data and Python, all this including the frameworks, right? Yes. So you can attend once you get enrolled with this package, right? You can attend any of my Hadoop, PySpark, Python batches or this framework batches whenever it starts. All these postings will be done in your WhatsApp group whenever any new thing is going to start. Yes. Tomorrow everyone can attend the session, same time to see more on this technical stuff. Tomorrow
Sir,
just
what
will be
is
going. What is
Hello,
the?
sir. Sir, what is the
Hmm.
duration for full stack Python?
What is the
How many months it will take?
full stack Python, right? Yes, Python.
What is the
Yes,
duration for full
Python Core and Advanced, 2 months it takes. And for this remaining this frameworks, UI technology, REST API, it also takes 2 months. Totally 4 months duration for the total full stack Python. But if anybody doesn't want, if you're unable to spare for 4 months, when this Python Core and Advanced going on, right, they can attend parallelly in the weekends. You'll be having some frameworks, classes, UI technologies, right? So when Python is going, you can update with this HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It doesn't require any Python knowledge, web development, web page creation. Later, this Django Flask will be discussed. You can attend parallelly, right? So otherwise, you can go one after the other, right?
I mean, do we have the current batch on the UI technologies on the weekends? I mean, new batch?
So within 1 week or 2 weeks, a new batch is going to start. First UI will be discussed. Next, these things will be discussed on Saturday and Sunday mornings, right?
Yeah.
The batch will be starting recently, like 2 weeks ago, a batch was started. One more batch is going to start. It's 2 hours on
So
this.
hopefully
2
the
hours.
timings would be in the morning. At what time?
Somewhere in the morning, 7 o'clock.
Morning, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, fine. So not only that, any other batch is going to start. If I'm starting any weekday batch also, that also you can attend, right? Whichever, everything will be given in this. Fine. Any other queries, right? Anyone? Right?
No.
Okay. So if I'm done with the queries, I'll sign off for now. Meet you tomorrow. More discussion on this one. Thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.